Hey, Shalom, guys. Welcome to another Bible review. We're going to be looking at the scriptures by the ISR, the Institute of Scriptural Resource. Now, again, if you guys can, I highly recommend, please going out and checking out the Masoretics, the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Samaritan Pentateuch, the Septuagint, the different Targums. It's always important to go back to the original text just to see what they originally say. But with this one Bible right here, this is another Bible that I really like. I want to go over this with you guys. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. So this one I got right here is in the hardbound. It's in the cover right here. So pulling this out, putting this to the side. This just has it on the back right here. Now the cool thing about this, and we'll get into this right here, but here it uses the Tetragrammaton of the original Hebrew, the YHWH that we see. And that makes this Bible very unique because in different translations, we'll see Jehovah, we'll see Yahuwah, we'll see Yahweh, but this maintains that one single part right there. So when we open her up, we see the scriptures down here in South Africa. So kind of just going through it. There's the scriptures, copyright 2018. And then here we have the Tanakh. And then we have the Brit Hadashah, the New Testament, right here. And with a lot of these, they use a lot of the Hebrew, the original Hebrew that's recorded right here with the English renderings right here. And the same thing in the New Testament. Now within here, it goes into the table of contents, abbreviations, and then you can put your whole family line right in the very beginning. And there are Torah readings, schedule right there, different Torah portions. And then we have a preface. And then here it talks about restoring the divine name. And this is basically just goes into detail of why they use the Tetragrammaton as they do. And they even bring up the Septuagint right here. So it just kind of goes over the text and some of the issues that we see. So boom, right here. We're going to jump right into the Tanakh. Now, one thing that's cool about this is it does have the dividing right here that we see on the side. So we can get to any book of the Bible that we want to very quick and easy. So this is what I was talking about. So there we have Bereshit, and then we have Genesis. And as soon as I see it, I will. Oh, and they use a lot of the Hebrew words. So in the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and the earth. So they'll use a lot of the Hebrew words that are there. Elohim, obviously, for God being one of them. And now this is where we get into it. So we're just going to look at chapter 2, verse 9, where it says, "And out of the ground," right? Yod He Vav He, Elohim made every tree grow from its pleasure. So as it doesn't use Jehovah, it doesn't use Yahweh, it doesn't use Yahovah. It uses the original Tetragrammaton, which I think is the best way to do this. If you're going to translate a Bible, instead of people arguing about how to pronounce a name, how it should be, everything like that, you put the Tetragrammaton in, you can read it how you want, and this is the most correct way to do it. It doesn't even say YHWH because, there will be a argument of how do we pronounce the Vav. Is it a Va? Is it a Wa? So very good on that part. And that's one of the reasons why I really love this Bible. So, and again, when the Nachash right here, more Hebrew words that are being used. There's the one thing I wish there was a little bit more of. There's really nothing here note wise. There's really no cross references. There's really no indication on what words certain mean. So you almost have to kind of trust the translators on this one, which is a little bit of a shame, but every Bible is going to have their ups and downs. But yeah, let's keep going. So there it is with Genesis. Now, when we go to Exodus right here. So it ends in Genesis. It goes right into Exodus, and again, there's no introduction. There's no history of Exodus. It just kind of goes straight in. Now, if you're someone who kind of wants a simple Bible like that, go ahead. I am one that I like the notes in there. I like the pictures. I like any of the color that can be brought up. Now, there's definitely stuff at the end of the Bible that we will go to, but I'm just kind of basically showing you the transition from each chapter. There is not a lot here, but again, it's really cool. Some of the words are in the Hebrew, and we see the Yud He Vav He within the original Hebrew text itself. It's just going like right here. So, we're in Leviticus chapter 12, verse 1, which says, "And Yahweh, Yud He Vav He, spoke to Moshe, saying." So that's just one of the cool things about this. But moving on, we got some of the different dividers that are in here. I believe this one has 3. I want to say this one has 3. So this is a bluish and a silver gold. That's right here. So the 3. So it's even color coded if you want to, for whatever reasons, whatever way you're going to be reading this book. Just going to keep going on. Yep. Now we're in Kings. We are in Micah. We are in the Psalms. We have Ruth over here. Chronicles. This is, and I want to make a note of that. This reminded me of it. This is set up, the Tanakh right here is set up in the way that it would be read within a Jewish Bible right here. So it's not your traditional English Bible. It is the Jewish rendering of this. So we'll have basically Chronicles last. And then we'll have the New Testament. So then we'll have the book of Matthew. So okay. So when we finish Chronicles, we go over here, we see this page called the Second Writings, also called Netzarim Writings, Messianic Writings, New Covenant. So Brit Hadashah, the New Covenant. That's what it means, or New Testament. The Brit Hadashah, that's literally verbatim what it means right there. So then we go to Matthew or Matthew. And same thing even here. Instead of it saying Jesus, Yeshua, whatever, we have the Hebrew that is present right there. Now, if I remember correctly, this Hebrew isn't literally Jesus. The Hebrew here is more Yehoshua and not Yeshua, which is a little bit of a shame. But again, it's not that big of a deal. The name between Yeshua and Yehoshua, there really isn't a distinction. We see it within the New Testament, within the Greek, but certain words are translated versus transliterated. So there definitely can be a different with that. So, but yeah, here we have Matthew, we have Luke, we have John. And then as we can see at the end of John, at the end of the gospel, it goes right into Acts. Again, no notes or anything like that. When you do go to the New Testament, there are more notes. They are more frequent because they are references to the Old Testament. So they do make the notes of that. But yeah, we got Romans, 2 Corinthians, Philippians, 1 Peter, Revelation. And we're coming to an end on that. Okay. So now, so there's Revelation chapter 22. And now we are in the notes right here. This is basically just a glossary of different words and phrases that they are explaining and giving better detail on. Bereshit, we have the beast, we have bondage, birth pain, These are a covenant. These are kind of like common words and phrases that like we hear. Gentiles, Enoch, the day of the Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh. We have God, we have heart, we have Cush, law in the Tanakh, the pre-Messianic scriptures. So yeah, just more notes on very common words and phrases that we see. So that's nice. We also have a weights and measurements. Now, this is really important because we do come across those verses that do talk about, how big something is, or like how big Goliath is. He's X amount of cubits long. It's nice that this is here so that we can get a proper measurement to really understand how big someone is, or how big something is, like a cup or a gallon, any type of unit of measure. So that's really nice right there, having that. And then same thing, distance. We have different weights, dry measures, stuff like that. Liquid measures, monetary measures. And then here is, we do have some illustrations. So this is the dwelling place that's mentioned, and it's nice because it tells you the chapter of Shemot. So that's Exodus 26 and 36, and here are all the details of it. We have the menorah, we have the showbread, plate offering, we do have the incense, and we have the slaughter place for the ascending offering over here. We have the bronze basin, the ark, the garments the high priest wears. And again, we have arrows that point to each thing to tell us what each thing is used for. Now, here is an example of what the structure would look like outside of the tents during the camp of the Exodus, where we have we have the place itself, the courtyard, the tabernacle, and we have all the tribes and how they were arranged. And it gives verses and details all throughout here. And here's a timeline flood that is given, just to basically give an indication of when the rain was and how old everyone was with the days. So this chart is super cool. And then here we go with the timeline from Adam to Jacob. And what's really interesting about this right here is, I'll show you guys. I'll hold it like this. What's interesting about this is how we can see a lot of these people where they lapsed together. So we see the blue part was birth of the first son, and then from the first son to the death, right? So when Adam died over here, Adam was alive during Lamech, right? So Lamech could easily visit Adam and to see Adam. So this is one of those really cool charts actually saying who was alive during what time. So very nice, very interesting. And then we have Abraham's journey right here. This one's colored, very nice. And we have the Red Sea crossing. We have the captivities of Israel and Judah. We have the 7 assemblies, events in the Tanakh, and this just marks off different places of when things were happening with the verses too. So while you're reading, you can actually go back and actually read, understand what was happening during this time. And finally, the tribal elements right here. So again, just where each tribe was basically around during Israel during this time. And that is the scriptures by the Institute of Scriptural Research. So this is a nice Bible, not as detailed as a lot of the big shot Bibles out there, but it's still a nice one to have if you're looking for a lot of the Hebrew pronunciations of the words. This is a really good one. And again, having the name Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh within the original Hebrew, that is a big thing for me. And like, if I was going to write a Bible, I would definitely go that route. I wouldn't say Yahweh or Jehovah. I would just keep it as it is. I think some of those certain, especially the creator's name, to have it in the original Hebrew, and we all know what it is. We all know what the Tetragrammaton is. And if you are a believer and you don't know what it is, you definitely should. You know what I mean? That's one of those things. But I mean, this is a good Bible. This is definitely in my top 10 that I recommend for people to definitely get their hands on. So, But I hope you like this Bible review. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. And I will see you guys on the next one. Shalom.